Hello, class. My name is Corey Kilgore, and what I will be speaking on today for my persuasive speech is music sampling. Basically, what it means, what it is, and effectively how I feel that it changed music um, over the last some odd 20 something years. I think I've spoken before on this speech how music is near and dear to me. Um, I play around with DJing a little bit, not that well, but I do want to get into music production and so on and so forth down the road. So let's talk about what sampling is first. Sampling is taking a song, a portion of a song, and looping it and using it in a different part of a song, in a newer song, I should say. So there is a song by Jay-Z and Kanye West called Otis. Um, Otis uses a sample of the great R&B legend name of Otis Redding. Otis Redding. Beginning of the song by Jay-Z and Kanye, it has a part by Otis Redding that says, "It makes it easier for her to bear. She won't forget it, and the young girls, they won't forget it." So it goes on and on for that 30 to 45 seconds of Otis Redding singing. So if you go back to the original song by Otis Redding, the original song is called Love and Tenderness by Otis Redding, which is a great song. I suggest everyone listen to it. So that would be a example of an artist using a sample from an older song and put it in a newer song. Now, it doesn't have to be old. I can create a song I did yesterday and use it as a sample in a song I make tomorrow. So it doesn't have to be an older song, but most producers who do sample use older songs to get those crisp, clear sounds and the older sounds of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s when music was music in my eye. You had live bands playing and you can really capture the essence of the music. So, who uses sampling? We just talked about it. Mostly it's hip hop artists, but it varies from person to person. Okay? Let's talk about when it started to give you a little history of it. It started in the 60s and 70s. Back then, you didn't have all these fancy machines that we have today, to which is all digital now, to record a sample. So they had to actually record it off of a phonograph back in those days, or use pieces of tape. I'm sorry, not pieces of tape, but use tapes to actually get those loops. It's done in studios and whatnot. So, I use that from Wikipedia for you guys want to look that up for those what sampling is. Let's take a look at a couple of artists that have been sampled over the year. So it's not just R&B singers. It's not just hip hop guys who are being sampled. You got groups like the Chords. You got Led Zeppelin, Isaac Hayes, a group called Club Nouveau. You got those guys who are being sampled in the new music today. One of the most sampled artists, according to Music Radar Online, through my research, is James Brown. Is one of the most sampled artists in our generation. Okay? So, with that being said, music today has lost its soul. To me, has lost its touch. Now, although I do like people sampling because it gives me a song that I may have never heard before, it gives me that, okay, what is this? Let me go look this song up. And it might be a song that I absolutely fall in love with the original version. I feel that in today's music business, we are sampling too much. We are getting away from the essence of what music was supposed to be. Music was supposed to feel good. Music is enlightening, is enriching. But today we just have a bunch of recycled music that is coming in and out, and people aren't saying anything. People aren't giving any substance to anything that they are saying. Okay, so let's talk about some of the artists today's. Well, one of my favorite groups who just put out an album not too long ago, Daft Punk. Daft Punk put out an album called Random Access Memories. Great album. So, in this album, they had people who've played with Sting before, numerous groups from the what they call the golden era of music, 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. So, Daft Punk recorded in various places: Paris, Germany, London, the U.S. They recorded this album all over, and it took them 5 years, people. 5 years, okay? And according to an article on NewYorker.com, in these 5 years, they spent $1 million on this album. Okay? $1 million to create this album in 5 years. Just so they can have original sounds. To me, it's impeccable. They took their time putting out an album besides just putting out a rushed album that they didn't want, that they wouldn't be happy with. They took their time and said, you know what, this is the album that we want to put out. And to me, that is remarkable. So, that said, let's talk about a little what this sampling has done to the music industry for the new guys and the old guys. So, doing my research, I was on, sorry about that, website Sound on Sound. Had to get to the site on my phone. Sound on Sound, and it talks a little bit about sample clearances. So we all know that a sample is taken from a prior song, a prior group, and used on a new song. Well, guess what you have to do when you use that sample? You have to pay the royalties to that older group or that older company who holds that music and holds the rights to that song. You just can't go out and say, I'm going to use this music today, I don't care what anybody says, and this is what I'm going to do. You can't do that. You have to pay them for the use of that song, and you have to get permission for the use of that song. Now, one thing that I do like that it's doing, it's giving their homage and their respect to those older people. So, what happens when you don't get your clearance for using that sample? You get sued. Okay? Plenty of artists have gotten sued in my that I've seen. One particularly off the top of my head that I can think of was the owners of Marvin Gaye's music. They sued a rapper named Eric Sermon, I believe, for a sample that he used and said wasn't cleared. And there's many, many other stories that I can go in and tell you about people being sued for misproper use of a sample. But that's for a different time. So in conclusion, sampling, is it good for the music business? Yes. But at the same time, we have to get back at the essence of what music is supposed to be. We have to get back to those original scores, and the Isaac Hayeses, the George Clintons, and I speak of the Beatles. God, there's so many other groups who are actual bands. The hip hop band out there called The Roots. I don't think I've ever heard them use a sample in their music. And if they are sampling their music, they're probably sampling their old music that they made with their band. So, like I said in conclusion, sampling, is it good? Yes. But let's get back to the essence of what music is. Thank you.